So you want to know if you're on track to retire on time. Well, first of all, what does on time mean to you? What does retirement mean to you? Interestingly enough, my wife and I just did this with our own finances and looked at our own situation to see where we're at. And so I'm going to share with you a few things. A couple of questions that often come up in conjunction with that same question. But I'm going to share with you a formula to see if you're on track to retire on time. And if you're ready to, and on time could mean 65, on time could mean 67. Sometimes you want to retire early, but I'm going to share with you a way to figure out if you're able to retire on time and then with enough money to make it last. And then if you want to see how to get there faster, sooner, quicker, you can just accelerate the plan. So let's get started. My name is Cluff. I'm a former financial advisor turned financial educator and coach. Absolutely love helping people manage, protect, and grow their money and turn their income into wealth and create what I call a massive bank account. So some of the ancillary questions that go into whether I should retire on time are, should I pay off debt? Should I continue to invest? Should I pay my mortgage off? Should I continue to invest my money for retirement? What's better to do? And the reality is that both. So your net worth needs to be increasing, and your net worth increases as your liabilities decrease and your assets increase. So even if you're just paying off your debts very slowly or methodically and increasing your assets, your net worth is going to grow, and that's the real key indicator here. Of course, you want to be out of debt as soon as possible, especially consumer debt. So I would say if you're going to get out of debt, make sure you get out of consumer debt first, and then if you have to leave your mortgage, let it go, because your mortgage is going to pay off in 30 years anyway. So if you can build a large asset that pays for that, then you're going to be fine. So there's a couple ways to determine whether or not you're on track to be on for retirement. So one of the things that I would do is there's a formula where you take your age times your income and you divide it by 10. That's the net worth, or that's the assets that you should have right now if you want to make sure to be on time or on track. Now that's a very, kind of broad idea. So if you're 40 years old right now and you make $100,000, 40 times 100,000 divided by 10. So 40 times 100,000 is 4 million divided by 10 equals $400,000. So you should have $400,000 in assets right now, at least 100, and that could be in any variety of assets in my opinion, but it's traditionally for people who want to have and create what's called a portfolio of stocks in the stock market. Now, the key to being able to know if you should retire on time is, more importantly, what are your expenses? Because you need to be able to pay for your expenses when you're retired. That's the real question we're all asking for. Like, I don't need to know if I should have $1 million or $5 million. What I need to know is, can I get my bills paid for every month? And so often we associate with that, and rightly so, we associate that dollar amount, a large sum of money, with the ability to be able to do that. And that's quite frankly a good idea. However, there are many ways to create a passive income that don't require a huge stock portfolio. You could create a real estate portfolio. You could create a business that has passive income. There's a lot of different things. I actually did a video recently on passive income ideas. And so what I decided to do was, I'm in a career right now personally where YouTube and other things, I could do this well into my retirement years. And so I could continue to do that. My health insurance business, I could continue to do that. My health and wellness business, I could continue to build that well into my retirement years. So I've created a couple of businesses that I don't necessarily ever have to retire from. So they can just continue to pay me passively, and I can just enjoy my time and do different things once I'm ready to finally say, you know what, I just want to kind of relax and do fun things. Now, the other idea is that when you're 60 or 70, my dad is very active. He's almost 80, he's 84, and he's very active. He does a lot of stuff. So the idea that you're going to just sit there and do nothing all day long is not exciting to me at all. I want to actually continue to be active and do things. And so what better way than to have a passive income business that you continue to manage at a very low number of hours per week, in my opinion. So that's what I'm doing, as well as also building a large stock portfolio. So I'm trying to hit it from several different angles, and that's my recommendation. The recommendation is figure out, one, how you want to retire. What are your household expenses? What are your household expenses going to be when you retire? So if you're 40 right now, you've got to kind of project what your household expenses are going to be in the next 25 years, 25 to 30 years. So what do you think that's going to be? In 30 years, the higher, if you stay in the house you're in, it's a high likelihood that'll be paid for. However, most people don't stay in the house for 30 years. They sell every 5 to 7. That's kind of it's what they call the 7-year itch. And so every 5 to 7 years from now, you could buy 3 or 4 more houses by now, and at 60 buy your last house, and now you got 30-year mortgage, which is fine if you upgrade every time, or you actually use the equity to pay for the next house. You could actually have a lower mortgage in those latter years. So the idea here is to develop something that will pay for your expenses, whether it's a large sum of money in terms of a stock portfolio, or whether that's a business that pays you passively, or maybe multiple businesses that pay you passively, or maybe it's real estate, or maybe it's dividends, maybe dividend stocks. So what I would suggest is figuring out, and here's another calculation to use. It's called your financial independence number. And the FIRE movement came up with this to determine that retirement's not an age, it's a dollar amount. So when they accumulate this dollar amount, they know that they can actually go work optional. And that's really what retirement is. So I would say is to find out how much your expenses are right now, multiply that by 25. So if you have a $50,000 expense and you multiply that by 25, that's going to be about $1.2, $1.3 million. Well, with that in mind, that's the dollar amount you need to achieve in order to maintain your current lifestyle. Now, inflation and other things are going to change that quite a bit. So you might want to add a buffer in there of another maybe 30 times. And so my thought is once you have that foundation, say, okay, look, I need to get 1.3 million, and then you can work that back and calculate that back. I'm 40 years old today. I got 25 years to get there. At 8 or 10%, this is the amount of money. There's lots of calculators out there to do this. At 8 or 10%, I can actually figure out how much I need to put away every month today to be able to do that with that. Or you build a business, or you build a real estate portfolio. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have enough money coming in every month after you've retired or after you've gone work optional to pay for your bills, so that you don't have to keep trading your time for money. Hopefully that helps you figure out the answer to your question of if you're ready to retire or not. If you want to know how to raise financially savvy and wise kids, you're going to want to check out this video here. Until the next one, make sure that you take time every day to turn your income into wealth and build a massive bank account. We'll see you on the next one.